in shops.
Yeah.
So he said there's a lot. It's a scarcity. So I thought to myself, well, it sounds like that there's a opportunity here.
Of course.
It's an opportunity here. So what I done was, being myself and my marketing skills, I made a few phone calls in the Western Cape, liaised with a lot of suppliers, and they made aware that it's very hard to get hold of these seafood items.
Yeah.
But after many phone calls and liaising with a lot of people, I managed to get hold of a few people.
Wait, so even the fishing industry was also in trouble at the time.
Yeah, that was also in trouble at the time.
So you can hardly get any of these things which you would ordinarily get, at the side of the boat, if everything was, at the side of at the shore, if everything was running normally. Those were even hard to get at the time as well.
And also, what plays a big role in this is the geographical as well. So if the weather is not good,
oh yes,
the guys cannot go out.
Oof.
So at the moment, like what's happening in Cape Town, the weather's quite bad. So the boats can't go in and do what they need to do.
So they're struggling again because of the weather conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I managed to get suppliers, and my other challenge was getting the stuff from the West Coast, from the Western Cape to East London.
Yes.
You can't just use any courier service. So
That's the thing.
So then I had to make a few phone calls. I managed to get hold of a logistic company that accommodates refrigerated items, and managed to get a few down. I was a bit skeptical because I haven't met the people in person.
Oh, there's that too, where you have to kind of operate on reputation and trust, and like, I know we've never done business, but let's see if this can work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to wait 3 days for the consignment to come through, and it landed, and I tried it out on Marketplace just to see what the reaction was.
Yes.
And it was quite good.
Awesome.
So from September last year, we started selling off seafood items, frozen seafood. And I said to him, let's expand it, try to get in a bit of fresh seafood as well, like Norwegian salmon.
Yes.
Fresh tuna as well. So what we do is I got a supplier also in Cape Town, and we fly those in on a weekly basis. But like I said to you, I didn't start this conventionally, so there wasn't a capital.
Right.
So this business started off by grace. So I strongly believe, because I didn't sit down and brainstorm this function. So I believe that it was God given to me at the time.
Yes. And I mean, there are certain things you follow through because you really feel like, this is supposed to happen.
Yeah,
I might not have anything to back it up,
yes,
but it's going to happen.
Yeah, there was no capital in place. I didn't do any market research. I didn't look at my competitors' pricing.
Right.
It was just going with the flow. Like I say, it was God-driven. It was by grace, and it's been doing so well. And the other challenge we were facing is the fact that I didn't have any equipment, so I couldn't stock too much.
Right. So you can't warehouse the stuff.
I couldn't warehouse the stuff, so I was getting stock on a weekly basis because I would like to keep it fresh. Because my customer base wasn't that broad, so I don't want to sit with a lot of stock, because seafood is of sensitive nature.
Yes, and many mistakes can happen if you're not paying attention there. Yeah.
So you're going to be sitting with a lot of food wastage.
Right.
Which is not what I can afford at the moment, what we couldn't afford at the time. So 2 weeks ago, because we don't have a pickup point, we used to deliver.
Yeah.
And with the increase in fuel, it wasn't sustainable for us. It wasn't of any...
If it's not one thing, it's the other.
It's one thing, exactly. So we've got a garage at home that we're not using. So I didn't discuss it with him. I just said to him, you guys, just clean out the garage. I didn't make it known that I would like it for it to be a pickup point for my customers, for my clients. The Monday and then the Wednesday, they cleaned it up. So I said to him, okay, fine, on Saturday we're opening up. So he's like, what do you mean? So we're going to be selling takeaways on Saturday. It's like, oh my word. So I threw him in the deep end, because he hasn't been practicing this for quite some time. And, I knew I was going to be skeptical about it. So I just put it out there, started advertising on Marketplace, Facebook. I've created a Facebook page.
Yes.
And the response,
I think that's where you came to our attention as well, because going through Facebook and Marketplace and just scanning the timeline to see what else is happening in our town, because there's a lot happening. We just don't have enough, people just haven't dug enough to go and talk about this and this and this. That's why we kind of reach out randomly, like, hey, can we have a conversation,
So like nothing, there was no planning. So that was the Wednesday. The Saturday we opened our doors. So
Yes.
I only had Wednesday evening, Thursday and Friday to do a bit of marketing. But the response...
And your team only found out about this on Wednesday.
On Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday.
Wow.
But I must say, I am so proud of East London and the
Oh,
support we've
man.
been receiving from them.
Oh
It
man.
is overwhelming.
I was gonna ask, how has everything been received? And surely you can see the direction it's going in the growth and people, the word of mouth. East London is a good town for that, by the way.
Yes, it is.
In East London, if one person's happy, 10 people are coming back.
Oh, definitely.
Trust,
Definitely. And what the advantage here is the fact that we've got a chef that's trained and
Yes.
qualified. Because 1 year ago, I did not know how to devine prawns.
Right.
I didn't have no knowledge on how to even fry or prepare the seafood.
Yeah.
I had to learn all of that within a day's time because we didn't have any people helping out. It was just myself, my husband, and my mom and my dad.
Wow.
And that kitchen got so hot. I am telling you, it actually challenges your character.
Wow.
The words that come through your mouth, you don't find those in the dictionary because of it's overwhelming.
Yes.
And there's no target market because if I look at it, the clients that walked in there, it's people from all age groups,
Yes.
as young to old. As people from high income to low income.
So you can never put your finger on it and be like, this is who we're targeting for.
No, it's not.
Just
Because-
put the food on a plate.
Yes,
and
exactly. And we're accommodating everyone.
Yes.
So we've got a bit of sophisticated seafood items
Yes.
on there, and we've got our basic fish and chips.
Right.
Now, the advantage for us in this game is the fact that we're getting the actual supplies for a good price. Hence, why we can sell it for cheaper.
And keep it affordable
Yes.
for okay. Now, working in a pressurized environment like this, minimum staff, everybody is family, so everybody's close already. How does this affect the way that a work day would go? Because surely there's toes that get stepped on.
Oh, no.
and they-
I saw a side of my husband. I never knew existed. Let me put it that way. Oh my word! I even said to him, we need to get people on board here.
because this is.
This is not.
My goodness.
Like for myself as well, I'm still fully employed.
Yes.
I'm a qualified accountant
Okay.
by profession, so I'm still doing books and I'm still doing everything else.
So there's a whole program before this program.
Yes. So what happens is the people I'm working for are so accommodating because they've got a soft spot for my husband. And
Right.
at the end of the day, I made it known that I'm doing it for him.
Right.
To get himself out there. And they've been accommodating, so I work till 1 o'clock. Like we finalize financials at the moment, which
Yes.
is really stressful because my cash book wasn't balancing because my focus is a bit here and a bit there.
Oh
So
man.
they said, no, it's fine. We'll give you off and just to get your husband up and going.
Yes.
So for now, I'm just like the brand ambassador.
Okay.
But because he's an introvert and a shy person, that's why he's not sitting here today. So I'm just here to make it known that we've got big rates up and running, and we've got this and we've got that.
So why big reds? What's that about?
Big rates, like I said to you, I wasn't familiar with the seafood. So when he was preparing the actual prawns, they turned red and
Okay.
they were quite big. So that's where big reds come
Okay.
from. I'm like, what's happening? Because they had like a brownish color. So they said, no, it's just a reaction of the seafood.
And once they get ready, that's
Yeah.
basically the color that they
Yes.
absorb.
So
Okay.
big reds come from there.
So what are some of the plans for Big Reds? I mean, as you can say, it's only now that you have to seriously think about all the formalities.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Everything happened by faith to this point.
Yes.
But to meet faith halfway, you got to start, putting
Yes.
things down and say,
I
okay,
have to.
we can't be on autopilot anymore. We have to put things into place.
Yes,
So what are
exactly.
some of the things that you're thinking about that maybe you can share with us? We're excited to know.
Yes, this is a good opportunity to create jobs.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that don't have any employment, especially in the community
absolutely,
where we are
yes.
from. So, like I say, I'm not going to be on board for much longer because I've got other responsibilities.
Yes,
So it's just for them to get themselves on feet and also for me to work out a system because before we can get people on board, there needs to be an outline. So we can induct people and know exactly that this person has this function and this is how things are supposed to be done.
Right.
At the moment, that's chaos because we've only been open for 1 week. So that's what I'm doing. I'm applying my auditing skills, putting controls in place. So I'm sure by next week or 2 weeks from now, we're going to have to start getting people on board.
and the system will be in place that you'll be able to kind of
Yes.
quantify and look at and say, okay, so when this happens, end goal is this.
Yeah, and also I would like Like I said, there's no identified target market. Like it's for everyone. But now the only people that's not being accommodated at the moment is it's our halal people.
Ah,
So
yes.
I'm trying now. I've actually put a request in. There's a requirements list that I need to go through and submit the necessary information.
And I mean, isn't there a council that you have to affiliate
Yes.
with or be approved by?
Yes,
Sure.
it's a process on its own.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I mean, it's also a sensitive one.
Yes, it is.
They'd love to eat the food, but they need to know, like, it's it's everything in place, because that affects people on a totally different level.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Serving seafood in a coastal town is either very smart or very stupid, depending on
Yes.
because number one, everybody has a palate for seafood. Maybe not necessarily sophisticated, but we know a good fish and a good chip that go together.
Yes.
On the coast, go inland a little bit. It's a novelty. It's exciting, but here on the coast. So the confidence with which Big Reds is operating and kind of doing, the offering, seems like you guys are pretty confident, and maybe that's the smart part of it. Do you see your products and the way that you're going about it as unique to what else is out there, and maybe what makes you guys stand alone?
Yes, I do feel that our product is unique. For example, like I say, we're now busy with the fresh Norwegian salmon.
Yeah.
We don't get this in East London.
Right.
That's a product that stands out on its own.
On its own.
Yes. Then we have the tuna steak as well. That's also sold fresh.
Mm.
We get that from the West Coast as well. You don't find that here in East London. So that's another advantage to us. But then we have like the crabs and the tails. There's a lot of limitations to that. Yes, we do get those in, but not as often as we would like for it to come in.
Sure.
And also, yes, there might be few people locally that actually do supply that, but we have to do things by the book.
I see.
If there's no invoice, we cannot purchase from you.
Mm.
So that's the other advantage that we have, is the fact that we are buying it from registered seafood companies and companies with invoices, whereas in East London, we cannot go that way because there's not available invoice to come with the...
I see. And the kind of guarantees that you need in
Yes.
place, because
Yeah.
obviously, if this is something you're serving to the public,
Yeah.
you have to make sure everything is up to scratch, which you do.
Yes.
What are some of the exciting things about doing this venture now? I mean, you're there now, you guys are into it, it's happening. This is not just a thought anymore, or
No,
something
it's
that
not
sleepless nights over. It's happening. It's on the ground. What are some of the exciting things about that?
For me, it's a new outlook because
Okay.
I come from a corporate world.
Yes.
I'm a book person. You would never find me in the kitchen.
Right.
Oh my word, it is so challenging for me because I want to wake up in the morning 8 o'clock and go home at 5 o'clock.
Right.
With this here, you have your moments maybe like for 15, 20 minutes, quiet. Then all of a sudden, you have 5, 6, 7 customers lining up.
Already out of the blue.
Out of the blue. You've only got yourself, you've got the chef, and you've got maybe an additional family member.
Right.
So it's complete chaos. So it's for me, it's exciting. It's competitive, but it's a learning curve for me. It's an ongoing learning curve.
And how nice is it to step out of your comfort zone and
It's
actually do
very-
something that is
Yeah,
so rewarding,
In fact, I had plans last year to retire from the corporate world.
Yeah.
Because I've been practicing finance for 11 years.
Okay.
And,
Change of scenery,
yes,
change of direction.
scenery. I actually completed my postgraduate certificate in education
Congratulations.
last year.
Yes.
So I actually wanted to go into teaching or lecturing as a whole. That was my plans for
Right.
last year. That was my mental plans. But obviously it didn't transpire because I found myself doing something else.
Yes. Either way, you're still doing something else.
I'm doing
So,
something else. So I have to keep my plans on hold for now.
yeah.
From the whole teaching point of view.
But that's okay. You go through this process, it'll maybe even improve what you're going to be teaching people at a later stage, because there's a case study that
Yeah, I'm teaching people. I'm teaching
There we
people.
go.
Yeah, I'm applying it.
There we go. And we hear a lot and we see a lot, but you never really get to have conversations like this about the behind the scenes and the frustrations, the stress. Because what people see is either the lovely, you know, posters and photographs of the products and like, that looks great. What went into that is what they don't really talk about. How many people were sweating over, making sure that product became a thing. How many days that they spent? How many days did they spend mastering the recipe?
Yeah.
And if, in fact, whatever is on the plate is representative of what you might see in the photograph itself, because it takes so much time, I believe, and I've heard, to actually get something right. But what we want is the right one. We don't, the story is like, it's fine, that's it. But it's interesting to hear these things. And then obviously working as a family also. Has that strengthened you guys as well?
Yes. To a certain extent, yes, it has, yes. I can actually say we've come to learn to know each other's not so good strengths, weaknesses as well. When you put in a situation like that, you have to learn to adapt to people's moods, because, like I say, when the kitchen gets hot,
it gets fiery,
people start acting out of characters, like, whoa.
I didn't know that.
So, yes, it trains you mentally how to deal with stressful situations, because the kitchen, I wasn't aware. When I go to a restaurant, I just see my waiter presenting the food.
Right.
I don't see what goes on behind the scene, because my husband says that's a normal day in the kitchen for any restaurant.
Sure. Oh, yes. I mean, that's I've heard as well. Of you can hear in the background pots and pans flying, literally people losing their temper, and instead of hitting each other, they throw these things against walls. It's like the chef going, okay, now I'm de-stressed, let's cook, because the pressure gets at boiling point. We love a success story. We love a good story, and we love a good story with a solid background. And the more people we talk to around these small companies that are growing into something else, especially from East London, the more we hear how similar the stories all began. Most of which, especially in the last year that I've spoken to people, everything started in 2020.
Exactly.
It was like this new starting point. None of us were expecting this to happen.
Exactly.
Even when they were telling us there's this thing called the coronavirus or COVID-19, we were like, oh, okay. Damn, that sucks, I hope the Chinese people will be okay, because it was so far removed.
Yes, exactly.
And the closer things got to us, the more we were like, hold on, so when it gets here, what's actually going to happen? We still weren't planning for what really happened after, March 25th, when it officially started, and about a month later, when companies were saying, look, I'm not saying you don't have a job, we're just saying everybody just stay home for now. And then they start calling in specific people to come in, and you haven't been to work in a month, and you're asking what's going on, and they're like, we're just figuring out now that this is not gonna, so there was a lot that happened, emotional as it was, inconvenient as it was. The people who are destined for bouncing back the best, I think, from all of this are the people who are like, well, if that's not going to work, let me, roll up my sleeves and start something I've always wanted to do. I've got all this time. I've got time at home. I'm sitting. I do not sit on my hands well. So, so something must go. Big Red Seafood has just commented. That has to be hubby. He says, beautiful. That's my wife. You got this. Well, introverted as you are, sir, I like the way you came through. And it just shows, guys, that when we think together and push together, things happen. We're excited. We hope you guys, become the biggest and best.
Oh yes.
Because any great story, starts like this, and one day we'll be like, them, I know them from way back in the day. Thank you so much, guys, sharing your story, sharing your passions, and sharing what really happens behind the scenes. It can't be easy. but it's not meant to be. I don't think you walk into greatness and just dumped on your lap, you know. You kind of have to put in the hours and put in the effort. How where do they find you on social media? Is there somewhere that they can look for you?
Yes, you can find Big Reds on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page. We're also now on Instagram as well.
Nice.
We also have registered with Uber Eats. We're up and running with Uber Eats, but I'm not happy with the layout. So I'm not gonna officially open up on Uber Eats for this week. Up until
until you're happy with
yes,
what.
Yes,
okay.
with what. But yes, we are actively on Uber Eats.
So that's another area where I've noticed the East London small business community has really started thriving. They're like, look, I'm not in a position to open up a space yet, like a big space. So I'll cook from home, and it can get delivered to you. Simple. Or you can come pick it up. Hey, whatever. You know, it doesn't stop anything from moving forward. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Sharday, and Big Reds as a whole. You guys, you know, we saw you, were like, you know what, we like what we see. Got to have this conversation. And these are the ones that we hope people listen to, people get motivated by, and people also decide, you know, I can get up and go and start up my own thing as well. And no, you don't need to win the lottery to start something. It would be nice, but but it's not necessarily you know, that you need all of this resourcing before you can get your idea started. Sometimes it's as simple as making the mixture, putting that cake mix in the oven, and an hour or two later, when you finish icing the thing, be like, I can sell that. Just saying. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a baker, but if you can do anything with these two guys right here, get it done. Sharday, thank you so much, and thank you to Big Reds. Everybody joining us out there, it's 14 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're joined by Sharday Izally from the Big Reds Seafood. I know her hubby is watching us remotely.
Oh, definitely.
He's happy with it. And the young man, I didn't get your name, sir. I didn't get your name.
My name is Sharday Izally.
Good to meet you, brother. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mom, okay? Cheers, man. Guys, we're going to see you on the other side of this. Let's get a song in there. And, you can check out the pics. We'll be taking them in just a minute to give you an idea what Big Reds is all about.